What's up, guys? My name is Chris. I'm 32 years old, and I'm from South Florida. Um, I'm making this video because I want to share a little bit about who I am. Um, Long story short, I'm visually impaired and hard of hearing. Yeah, so this is a vulnerable thing for me to do. Um, I didn't want to really talk about this, but this is who I am and I have to accept it. So, yeah, anyway, I have usher syndrome type 2. And what that means is basically it's a genetic condition where I am hard of hearing and visually impaired. So, growing up, basically from birth, my vision seemed normal, but I was hard of hearing. So I needed to wear hearing aids at a young age, probably around the age of like 7. I don't remember, but basically when I started school in elementary. My vision for the most part, it seemed pretty normal. So it seemed like I was just hard of hearing, and even though that was a little something for me to accept at a young age, I was able to brush it off and say, okay, cool, it is what it is. And I went on about my life. I was never embarrassed to wear hearing aids growing up in school, but I always felt different from everybody else. Not necessarily in a bad way, but just different. Luckily for me, most of my classmates, schoolmates, friends, they never looked at me as somebody weird or different or less than. So they accepted me, treated me as equal. So I'm very grateful for that. And that means a lot to me. Fast forward, in my late 20s, everything seemed normal. I'm working, I got a job, paying rent. I was driving, which was one of my favorite things to do. I used to love driving. I was into cars. So yeah, I was driving from literally the age of 15. As soon as I turned 15, I got my permit, didn't waste any time, got behind the wheels, and I've been driving ever since then. And then up until the age of 26, 27, my vision started to get worse over time, progressively, to a point where I realized that it was not safe for me to drive. And so the first thing I did was I tried to do my research, figure out what's going on, look online, Google, the typical stuff. And then I went to an eye doctor, an ophthalmologist actually. And during that appointment, they basically said, all right, well, you have a condition, a rare eye condition called Retinitis Pigmentosa, which is basically the scientific term for my eye vision condition. So once they said that, that's when everything changed. And that's when I had to reevaluate my whole life moving forward. And then the first thing I realized is that because they said that it was something where they didn't have any treatment. So this is something that I'm gonna have to deal with for a long time if there's any cure or treatment. If not, then this is something I'm gonna have to live with for the rest of my life. So with that being said, I was like, damn, I can't drive anymore. The one thing that I love doing the most. So that was heartbreaking. And I know there's other people out there that have the same condition as I did. And, they had to stop driving. And that was hard for them because that's basically saying, hey, I'm giving up my independence. But anyway, so yeah, I had to give that up. But, you know, I can't stop there. I can't give up. I got to keep pushing. Still got to be the best version of myself and make it work, right? So yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what to do in life. I'm 32 years old now, so it's been several years that I'm being used to having this eye condition. So at this age of 32, where I'm at with my vision, I can see. I still have my central. Basically, I don't have any peripheral view. So what that means is that, like, if I'm looking straight, um, I may not be able to see anything here on my left side, on my right side, or even from the top or the bottom. So it's literally tunnel vision type of situation. Um, it doesn't feel like I have tunnel vision from my point of view, which is kind of sounds weird, but it just feels like, I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels like this. And it feels like it's supposed to be normal, but obviously I know it's not. So that makes it difficult for me to see my surrounding areas pretty easily. And then on top of that, it comes with um, night blindness, meaning that if I'm anywhere in a dark area, it's hard for me to see, it's hard for me to move around. And so loss of peripheral, basically very restricted. Um, Night blindness, so if I'm in any situation that is dark, I can't see, that's what it is. And I do have this thing where it's like flashes, floaters. That's the hardest part for me to explain to people when I talk about it. I did make a video on it to kind of show a visual representation of what it looks like. It's not perfect, but basically flashes, floaters. That's constantly like maybe like a TV static on the peripheral area of my vision, and in my central, it's clear but blurry at the same time, which is weird. So if I'm trying to read something in a small print, it's going to be hard for me to read it. If I zoom it in, make it bigger, I could probably read it. I can see faces, I can see body and stuff like that, but it's not always perfect. But for the most part, I can see that. Um, yeah. But now I'm just trying to figure out what to do with my life because I'm currently not working. I used to work, and I had a business where I was traveling doing retail sales as a vendor for major state fairs, selling all kinds of stuff. I had a partner, and we did that together for like 5, 6 years. And that was basically how I was able to support myself. But um, that kind of business basically took a toll on my health, my eyes, and everything because I'm dealing with the extreme lighting condition, um, big crowds. My brain is constantly being overstimulated. I'm outside all day, so the sun is beating down on my eyes. I'm in a situation where the whole environment is very dark. So and I'm trying to, have to navigate around, because I have to get things done, and that brings up my stress levels, and my anxiety and all that stuff. So, I mean, that's not for me to complain about, but it was just something that I was going through, and I was just, you know, year one, year two, just working at it. And I'm very grateful that I had the opportunity to work and try to make something. And, but, my vision was really being affected, and I have to protect that. So eventually, things started to slow down, and we decided to close it up and move on. So now I'm back to square one. Um, and I'm like, now what? What do I do? What is my passion? What type of job do I go back and get a job? I want to work, but what kind of work can I do being visually impaired and hard of hearing? And I know there's some works out there. And I'm working on it, seeing what's out there. But in the meantime, hopefully one day there's a treatment out there. I'm very hopeful. I believe that one day something will happen, and I'll be able to improve at least my vision somewhat. But for now, I gotta deal with the card that I'm dealt with and just try to make the best of it. Um, but yeah, so that's who I am. And I just wanted to get that out there so you guys know, you know, who I am, what I'm going through. And that's not to say, that I want you guys to feel bad or anything. This is just me just trying to start somewhere. And my goal is to document myself, um, document my journey, see where this goes. So I have to take care of myself, my health, because the best way to fight this condition, I mean, there's no cure, there's no treatment, but in my opinion, the best way to fight this condition, or at least slow the progression down, is to take care of your body, take care of your health, exercise, eat right, drink a lot of water, take deep breaths, get them sun, and just really go out there and just kick some ass, because at this point, what else do you have to lose? And so that's basically what I'm telling myself. So yeah, thanks for watching.